Hi everybody. I thought I'd set up the camera on my desk this week and give you a bit of a progress in real time as opposed to just photographs like I've been adding. Um, I've done enough that it'd be fun to talk about. A couple weeks ago, I posted I think I called it gifted vintage gifts and thrifted finds, and I had gotten this basket through the thrift store and I just wanted to share. I found a good thing for it. This is my website's anniversary quilt. It's a signature quilt where people sent patches with their name on it and rose fabric, and I put them together in this. I prepared apple core patches out of them. I've got this all set up, ready to go, the pairs of each, like that. And I haven't been working on it. The patches I did as a while you wait project, but this is bigger and bulkier to take with me now, so I don't. Not that I go very many places or anyways. It's been sitting in a bag and I haven't touched it. And sometimes I just want to pick up and do a few minutes of hand stitching without thinking about it. Just stitch, stitch, stitch. And this is a very repetitive English paper piecing type of stitch. So this is good for that. And I'm very happy to say I'm making a little bit of progress on this quilt again. So that's good. The bits and bobs is a different kind of stitching. I'm kind of every piece is a different something different, and I'm creating on the fly, and there's much more thinking involved. And because of the size and complexity of it, it's not the kind of project you just pick up and stitch for a couple of minutes. So that's why this has been fun to have again. All right, I'm going to put that aside. Excuse me. All right, here's the folded up bits and bobs, and I'm going to go through and show some of the additions I've done. So here's that, this is the top right corner. Here is that crazy quilted brooch that I received as a gift from, I really don't remember the guild that gave it to me. It was like 20 some odd years ago, so forgive me for that, but it works really nicely on this quilt. I took the brooch part off because it was getting too, it needed to be stitched down. It was getting beat up just being on the quilt, so that's why I did that. Another small filler bit that I've done is added this motif that I cut out of a fabric, and then I just stitched it onto one of the white applique embroidered flowers I had as a frame. That's got stitched down. Now the picture didn't give this do justice to this little braid with treasured buttons. It makes a tingly noise. I love it. So I love how that turned out. My latest addition, and you wouldn't have seen this in pictures on the videos, is I added a piece of lace under some patches. I actually unstitched these. Then I wove separately. I wove a basket from this. Remember this that I got a few months ago, maybe. So I wove myself a basket, and then I separately again. I made a bunch of overcast. Cast on. They're called cast on flowers with embroidery floss, and then I stitch all of that down, and it just is so sweet. All right, further across is this right corner. I've got this shabby rose stitched down now, and this piece of eyelet with the velvet trim, and some, I might have had this already, but the yo-yo flowers with some covered buttons. And I also added this button with the little birds onto one of those ruffs that I made out of my cotton edging. and added a bit of ribbon underneath for that sort of little badge. And this beautiful pearl heart. I added a tassel to the ends of the wire were here, so I covered them up with the tassel. All right, let's see. I think that's it for that. Okay, what I'm going, oh no, I missed this. There's another covered button there that I put on one of my, I made a bunch of yo-yos out of special fabrics, like laces and things. That's one of them. And this is a piece of wool, and I had a bunch of white lacy flowers, so I made a little collage on this wool and added some embroidery and some beads and a button for that little piece. And oh, I did have more down here. So this was done, but I also finally added the 5-petal yo-yo flower that I had prepared. Oh, the fold has done them in. You really get to see how sturdy things are when you have them on the quilt and you're folding and unfolding. Okay, let me get to the middle of the quilt now. We'll flip it over. Let's see what I got done here. Oh yes. There's this 4-patch yo-yo that I made, and I put a little lace around it, and I did some drizzle stitch in the middle, and it's now attached. And so is this piece here. It's a little hexagon that I put in a embroidered flower, a lacy flower that I had. It's cotton, and then a trim of lace around it. And I think I missed some, oh yes. I'm calling this a postcard. It's got some tatting around it. It's a piece of wool. And it's just a little collage of a covered button on another one of those ruffs that I made. Another covered button, a couple of very special mother of pearl buttons. This one's got only 3 holes, so I took advantage of that with the stitching. This is one of the 4-petal yo-yos I made. One of my favorite fabrics in this quilt. I just had this tiny little bud, so I made a little heart out of it. And this is a piece, see that? I used it, I made a bunch of those silk ribbon, calling them butterflies, for my Crazy Quilt Wizard piece. The wizard is standing there and he's got butterflies coming up as a swarm. So I made a bunch of these for that, and I had some leftovers, so I put that on there. Okay, next, across, oh yes. So I finally attached my little mini measuring tape that I embroidered onto grosgrain ribbon. And I finished adding this folded frame with a little flourish of lace and a special button. There, it's got shininess to it. And I added a scissor charm to my pattern piece. So I still have some dingle-danglies I plan to hang from here, I think anyways. Now this is one of my favorite additions. Who knew you could get such a charm out of just some folded velvet with some X's? But I love how this turned out, this piece of velvet across. It's very pretty. All right, and there's another hexagon that I did a lazy daisy flower in the center of, and then did French knots in the corners and one in the middle. Okay, now here's another 4-patch yo-yo I made, and initially I had an earring planned for the center, but it kept falling out, so I just gave up on that and put a vintage button in instead. And I tucked a piece of this lace underneath as well, and then this lace has a pink side with little squares, so I cut a strip of that off and I cascaded it down under the yo-yo and put these little sweet daisy flowers on them, and I just love that too. And in there, oh, I'll start with this. Was a lace flower I had, and I did, where'd it go? Here, where I covered lace with a satin stitch and changed the color all on this piece. I did that for just the single, where'd it go? Here it is. For the single flower, I just edged the piece with a satin stitch and changed it to pink. I did put a light pink fabric behind it so this blue wouldn't show up. And then I did another version in with red, and I added a little blue embroidery in that as well. And then some more flowers. This is a ribbon flower I made, and another one of those 4 petals. One of my yo-yos, another one of the yo-yos. This one's blue lace. Some more ribbon flowers, another yo-yo, and 4 petal. And then I had a chance to make this beautiful print, a couple of pinwheels, 3D pinwheels. So this is where the pink one is ended up. I don't have the blue one on here yet. Not 100% sure. I have space. We're gonna still see. Oh, I have space, but whether I'm gonna fill it with a pinwheel, I'm not sure. The part of it is I want to do as much variety as possible. Okay, oh no, here's another piece I didn't finish. Show you, I mean. Here's my mini yo-yo flower I've attached here. Oh, and I have a great plan that came to me for this space. Stay tuned. That's one of the things I'm going to work on next. Now, I'm going to flip again and get the last piece of the quilt shown. All right, here we are. We'll start on the left. Oh yes, this bottom left corner. I added blue velvet to this very pretty blue and white ribbon, and I tucked it under the fan. And then I trimmed the top of the fan with this piece of lace that I only had that much, so it was perfect. And I made a little tassel for this fan too. If you remember, this fan is a copy of the one I made for my Let's Play last year, the May version. And then here's one of those lace, cotton lace flowers I made with a bit of ribbon in the middle. The playing cards are added now. And this heart is a repurpose from a t-shirt. It was a decal on the front. And I added a piece of gathered like a bow from this ravelly red, and it just popped that nicely. And here's another 4-petal flower. Let's see. These aren't attached, and I'm not sure. They're still being auditioned. I did this little rosette out of this lace, and then added this pretty button in the middle, and added it there. The 3 buttons that cloth buttons that I embroidered for this shoe is now been added. That's a nice addition. This is put here, but I have to change the bead. It was a pearly looking bead, but it was one of those things that kind of got destroyed in the movement of everything. So see, this bottom half still has the pearl on it, but the paint or whatever came off the top. So I'm gonna fix that and put a prettier bead on there. But I like that. And in this corner, yeah, I put this big mother of pearl, which is gonna be under that. Button with a bit of ribbon, ravelly ribbon. I tied it on. And then I put a couple more of my yo-yos with a covered button on that and a pretty button on this. And that is it. That's how the progress I've made since I made a live video last. I hope you enjoyed that. I wasn't able to get a lot of stitching done last week because I had my um, an update for my website to do, and I had a lot of pictures I took for this that I needed to add to the schoolhouse. 68 new pictures have been added from July to that schoolhouse section of the bits and bobs. So that kept me quite busy last week. And so, yeah, this afternoon I get to, it's very hot outside, so I'm going to scoop inside and pull this on my lap and get a lot more at it. All right. Thanks for joining me this week. Thanks for your interest. And I hope you have some happy stitching.